Hey again, welcome back to the garage and part 3 of the Shopsmith Mark V restoration. This video is all about the tables and accessories, so let's get into it. The first thing to do is strip down the carriage for cleaning and painting. Just like the rest of the machine, it's looking and feeling pretty well used, so I'm going to pull everything out, clean it all up, get all the rust off, and prep the body for paint. Just like in the previous videos, I'm using a combination of the angle grinder with a wire wheel and paint stripper to get all the old paint off. Unfortunately, my Harbor Freight grinder decided it didn't want to play my silly little game anymore and went down in a mess of sparks and ozone. Some primer in the original Shopsmith green, and we have a pretty nice looking carriage. Clean and polish the holes that slide on the tubes with my brake cylinder hone, Scotch-Brite, and some acetone to make sure they're a nice smooth fit for the tubes. A little machine oil in the moving parts and we can put it back together. I didn't show much of the cleaning and polishing of the hardware in this video, but if you're curious how I did it, check out the first video in the series where I show that in depth. table itself was in decent enough shape, but I took a wire wheel and polishing wheel to it anyway just to get it shining like the rest of the machine. I did the same thing to all the table inserts that came with it. The tilt function of the table was pretty useless in its current state. The hinges were almost completely seized. It took a fair amount of penetrating oil and a lot of pressure to break them free and get them off. Patience would have been better here. I probably should have sprayed the penetrating oil and left it overnight. But once it came off, I cleaned everything up and painted the tie bar assembly and front trunnion. Some polishing with Scotch-Brite of the contact surfaces and some machine oil, and the tilt function works like new. I painted the whole trunnion, then took a polishing wheel to the number scale to get it to contrast well with the rest of the part. Put it back together the same way it came apart and the main table is done. I do some initial tweaks of the stop screws, but those will get the final adjustment later on. Time to go after the fence. Again, I strip it completely down and clean and polish everything. Nothing new here, so it's back to assembly. Putting this together was much trickier than taking it apart, but a little patience and it came together. time to put the rip fence base back on. I set the initial 90 alignment with a square, but this will get final adjustment once everything is installed. I did the same tactic with the miter gauge as the trunnion, painted it all, then cleaned off the scale with a polishing wheel. Putting the trigger grip system back together was also pretty fiddly. An extra hand would have been helpful here, but I got it done and it looks a lot better than it did before. Again, I'll set the stop screws once everything is installed. For all the extra bits and pieces, I used my electrolysis rust remover setup to get them cleaned. I'm showing the drill chuck here, but I used the same process on the lathe centers as well. With the tables all finished and installed, this is looking like an almost new piece of classic machinery. I love how this is coming out and I can't wait to use it. Stick around, I still have 2 more videos in the Shopsmith series. The next video will be setting up the machine as well as a 510 conversion. The last video will be a restoration of the 4-inch magnet joiner that came with it. Thanks for watching!